Raj, when SAP came courting, was culture ever considered in the negotiations? I mean, when you've got, I've been a part of one of these, multi-billion-dollar deals, and with two distinct cultures, it can be tough unless it's been talked about beforehand and folks understand how to get the best out of both and who's going to be responsible for that and who's going to do the picking.
It was a big part of the dialogues. I would tell you, and this is public because I've said it before, there's a set of companies we wouldn't have sold our company to because we just didn't believe they would do the right thing by our customers and by our people. And I can say that now because the company's sold and my shareholders won't beat me for saying something like that. But we spent a great deal of time early in the process with SAP before we even started talking about kind of all the deal terms beyond valuation, about saying, like, this is the way we treat our people, this is why they're here. There is something special about the place, but it's a technology company. And remember, if all 4,000 of those people decide this isn't a fun place to work anymore, boy, that $8 billion isn't going to seem like that great of an investment. And so there was a great deal of conversation about it, and a significant amount of talk about how the integration process would work in a way that would inspire those people to stay. It's a big deal. I would say you have to do that in that dialogue for the good of the buyer and for the good of the seller.
Nailed it. Can you talk about the way the culture has changed at Concur or been impacted by the purchase, the acquisition by SAP?
Yes. One thing I wanted to add to that last question, if you don't mind, there's a really interesting thing that you have to watch for, which is, and Matt really alluded to it, your senior hires are so critical because their impact on the company cascades. And people are spectacular. There are some people who are really great at managing up and convincing me that, man, this guy seems totally culturally aligned. And the opportunity for dissonance from your message, you're up there talking to your company about what you believe in and what you're doing, and then they're like, but there's this guy. He doesn't behave like this at all. He does here, and then we go back to work, and this guy's a pain in my ass. Why is that? And why doesn't Matt see that? Or why doesn't Raj see that? Why doesn't Scott see that? And that dissonance is really hard. Like, you have to find it and fix it, which means not just hiring well, you got to be 2 levels deep, 3 levels deep in your organization to say, are people seeing and feeling leadership behaving in a way that's consistent with our values? That's why it's an everyday battle, and it's really hard. Get to the answer of the question about cultural change. You know what the leadership of Concur has tried really hard to do is put an umbrella around the organization and say, let's take advantage of the strengths of SAP, a huge distribution channel, a bunch more resources. But let's acknowledge that the culture of this cloud-based company, this cloud company in Seattle, is fundamentally different than an 80,000 person German company based in Waldorf. And the SAP crew has been very good, I think, about allowing that to happen and allowing the change to happen organically. That said, it is different. It just is different. And when somebody pays $8 billion for your company, they may have a few opinions about how you should run it.
They might.
And so you have to, there is a balancing act between protection of your culture and an understanding that there are some things that the new owners of the company are going to expect in terms of what the things you're doing, the way you're doing them, and how they'd like you to behave in the future. That's the hard part of acquisitions, because you've been successful and you want to just keep doing what you're doing. Well, they've been successful too. And any dissonance there is the hard stuff that people have to deal with. But the joy, I think, of Concur in my mind was there's so many people who had been there 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, that there are people who understood the way we wanted to behave, but I'd also seen enough battles to know that we were constantly changing anyway. No company is a static entity of just, we're a great company and this is the way we behave all the time. There are bad days and there are good days. And if you've been through enough battles, we were going to change regardless. Now, how do we make sure that this change is positive? And I think that's what they're working, and they're doing a really good job of retaining people.
That's fantastic.